Everyone, it's Andrew coming to you live from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Today we are making pizza. We're calling this our pizza hangout. We've got classes and new classes coming up and all types of fun things for you guys to learn. And I'm still learning too, which is great. Today we are making, we thought a summer pizza and tomato. We're gonna make a traditional tomato pie. And I wouldn't say cheese less because we're going to sprinkle a little bit of Romano on it, but you don't need, you can skip that step for any of you vegans out there. This is going to be a really nice, light, beautiful summer pie. Got our crushed tomatoes here, with just a little bit of sea salt. These are Isola tomatoes. I like Bianco DiNapoli tomatoes, fresh plum. And all I did was grind them up and add a little bit of sea salt. For the dough, I've got a real treat today. I've been fermenting my dough for like 5 or 6 days. So we are talking like some gorgeous flavors inside here. I cannot wait to stretch one out. And we are at that, like living on the edge of fermentation. I'm using a really strong flour, an organic bread flour from Central Milling. It's really high in protein content. And what that allows us to do is really push that fermentation to 6 days with this dough in particular. And other flours aren't going to ferment as long. Like all purpose doesn't have as much protein. So you really want to keep those fermentation days to maybe 1 or 2 days. But when we push into a higher protein content, we can really stretch it, no pun intended, to get more fermentation, which is more, I open this up, I can just smell that aroma. It's incredible. And so we're going to jump right into a classic tomato pie. And this is really nice in the summer. You could even use fresh tomatoes off the vine, which probably about maybe a month away or so from the really nice ones. So let me take you through my process. I've got baking steels in my oven for the last hour. I've got 2, one on the top shelf, one on the bottom shelf. I preheat, this is an electric oven. I preheat my oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit using convection. If you have convection, use it. The reason 450 versus 500 is because I like to use the broiler. And by using the broiler, I can get to 500, when I turn the broiler on, because it's only at 450, it'll kick in pretty quick. If my oven was too hot and I switched to broiler, it might delay. So we've kind of found a hack for our home oven to preheat it at 450. Seems to work really well. And if you have convection, I definitely recommend using it. All right. So let's, we just got some weather here too. Let me get this, right? I like to flour my spatula here, so this one can slide under the dough a little bit easier. I'm using like 280 gram dough balls, right? I push it right in the flour, cover this up. Isn't that pretty? And we're gonna knock some of this flour up. I use the flour so it doesn't stick. So just kind of coat both sides. And this is about 285 grams, which is a nice size. This dough is, because it's been sitting for 3 hours, it's really relaxed. It's like done a yoga class. Think of that. If this was cold, it would be stiff. But now that it's been relaxing for 3 hours, it's chill. So you can see I'm just going to lightly just press it out. And I always want to continue to pick it up and turn it over just so I don't get it stuck to my countertop. And if we want to make a round pizza, we start with the round dough. It makes it a lot easier. And now I'm just kind of lightly pressing. And this dough feels nice too, because it's, again, 3 hours. It's right on the button of 3, right on the edge of 3 hours. Maybe 3.5 is ideal, depending on the temperature. And there's a couple different schools of thought. There's some folks that stretch and like to press it out right to the edge. There's others that just like to press the entire dough out. I don't have a preference. I don't even have a signature. I just do whatever I feel that day. And it's kind of fun to do the different, to see the different styles and techniques that people use. But really, we like to use gravity as our friend here. So once I get to be about 6 inches in diameter, I'm going to put it on the back of my knuckles and just keep my knuckles closed like this so I don't poke through the dough. And I'm just going to kind of give it a little tug and turn it. Give it a little tug and turn it. And you can see it's starting to grow a little bit. And if I work consistently, I'm going to have a nice consistent dough stretch. You can see now it's getting to be about 7 or 8 inches. Isn't that pretty? You can see the bubbles, the fermentation bubbles. Because this dough is like 6 days old, those glutens inside are really, really getting weak, which means I'm going to be able to digest this better. It's going to taste nice, but it's not going to upset my stomach. I can see that. It's going to be about 8 or 9 inches now. So I just feel like taking the bubbles out a little bit today. I don't know why. It's just my feeling, so I'm going with it. Let me go. Like it's getting a little bit bigger. And what I'm doing is just kind of turning it, stretching. It's nice, right? Gonna be pretty good size. It's beautiful. So now what I'll do, I'm gonna clean up my flour. I like to try to work clean as much as I can. I'm gonna press out my edges again because I just feel like I don't know, almost like a New Haven style. I feel like they do that over there. Just keep my edges. I might bring the sauce all the way to the edge today. That's the vibe I feel like. I can see that, right? Isn't that nice? So now we'll take my pizza peel. We need to have one of these. The peel is the vessel we use to get it into the oven. And there's two thoughts. There's two schools of thought. There's metal peels and there's wooden peels. I prefer wood because the wood's going to whisk away some of the moisture in the dough. The number one goal is to get it from here onto the steel without it getting stuck. So this is a really nice tool. I like our cherry woods here. I'm going to add a little bit of semolina flour. I do a combination of semolina flour on my peel. This is a really important step. If you haven't made much pizza at home, really pay attention here. So now I'm going to take my dough. Actually, I'm going to put a little flour on here too. So I use a combination. Dust it around. The better I get at this, the less amount of flour and semolina flour I'm going to use. I don't want to get caked on the bottom of my pie, but if you don't have a lot of experience, then you can be a little bit more aggressive here. The goal is not to get it stuck. So once I get my peel dusted, I'm going to place my dough on top. And now you can see, I like to press these edges out. And before I do sauce, before I do cheese, before I do anything else, I have to be assured that this dough is going to slide. So the way I do that is kind of give it a little slide, like a little movement back and forth. I don't want this dough to stick. Now's the time to correct anything that's stuck. So if I did have a corner that was getting a little stuck here, I would just pick it up, add a little bit more flour or semolina flour underneath it, and place it back. If I tear my dough, let's say I got a poke in my hole in my dough, right? I'm gonna pinch it and just fold it over a little bit. So I'm gonna use a little bit of shrinkage there, but I don't want anything going through the crust, like especially the sauce, because then we're gonna have an issue with our launch, right? So now I've got my dough here, and we're making a tomato pie. So what I'm gonna use, I have my crushed tomatoes with just a little bit of sea salt, right? Place my tomatoes on top. I got a few chunks in here, which I actually like, right? And be careful not to bring that sauce over the edge, but bring it to the edge. I like sauce, so I might go a little heavy, but my mantra typically is less is more. I don't want to go too heavy because then the dough doesn't have a chance to cook. It's pretty nice. I'm gonna go all the way to the edge here. I just feel it today. I just feel it. Every day is a little different, right? This is what I'm feeling. And we got a lot of sauce, which I like. Gonna make it heavy. So before I do anything else, I want to make sure I'm still sliding like a hockey puck. This is really important. Now's the time to do it before I go into that oven. And I'm just kind of stretching a little bit here. Now let's add, I like to add, sorry, get down here like this, right? I like to add a little bit of, like a pinch of dried oregano. Just kind of do your best to kind of scatter it around. It's kind of float it off, right? And we're going to add, you could add some basil if you'd like to, but this is like a traditional pie. So I'm going to keep it really basic. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch, I'm going to sneak over to my oven. I'm going to put my oven on to broil. And here's that little trick I taught you earlier. Now my broiler, it's going to take, I could time it, but it's probably going to take less than a minute. And those coils will be red. And I'm going to take this pie and launch it. Isn't that pretty? Oh, but maybe I was staring at this beautiful olive oil, Garcia Cruz. It's incredible. And it's really good for you too. Maybe I put a little bit of oil just around the pie. Just a little bit. Some people like, if you had a lot of crust, they might like drizzle it. I think Dave Pizza's Oven does this, drizzle around the edge there. Just be careful. But it's got a nice flavor into that crust. Again, this is, now I got to be careful here. Look, I spilled a little bit of olive oil, which that's going to help my dough get a little stuck. So I'm going to scrape that up really carefully and maybe even dab it with my towel. Stick a little bit more flour underneath there. I don't want that getting stuck on my pie. Again, dough's still loose on here. Another trick is that if I just drop my pie flat, it's going to help loosen it up just a little bit. I was aggressive with my toppings here. So my broiler now is on. So I'm going to take this into the oven. You guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to take this oven here. So I'm going to take my rack back. Got my baking steel here. And just kind of slide it off. Really nice. Be careful, it's hot. Right? Boom. Now what I'll do is I'm going to take my timer, super important. I'm going to do 1 minute. 1 minute with the broiler. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take the broiler off and just do regular bake for like the next, 4 or 5 minutes. We can do like a nice 5 or 6 minute bake, tomato pie. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. Now, if we have some time for some questions, let's get to them. Oh, the peel. Oh, thanks, Elaine. Yeah, someone's, I think, made a comment on these peels. They're great. And traditionalists. Now, I'm not a traditionalist. I like to change things up, right? So this is a cherry wood peel, super durable. I like to slice my pizzas directly on my peel. These peels have been with me since Boston days. And that's goes back 3 or 4 years. And I hosted hundreds of pizza parties. Yeah, definitely hundreds of pizza parties. And so, and I sliced pizzas on these things like you read about, and they're still in amazing shape. Incredible. So let's take a peek in here. It's been 1 minute. Oh my goodness. It looks really good. I'm going to keep it on there for maybe 1 more minute on the broiler. I'm going to turn the broiler off. And then I'm going to just turn the broiler off. I want to get a little bit more color on top. I'm going to turn the broiler off and we're going to have this amazing pie. So getting back to the peels, wooden peels, cherry. This is our 14-inch. I love this because I slice right on them. So if I have guests over, I have 3 or 4 peels. I will serve my pizzas directly on my peels. 1, it looks cool, but 2, it's less cleanup at the end of the night. No plates, if you will. Just keep serving on this throughout the night. If you're making 5 or 6 pizzas, man, it's a great setup. Have you ever done whole wheat or multi-grain flour for your dough? Richard, great question. Yes, and I'm going to answer that in 2 seconds. I'm just going to turn this broiler off before I get too dark. And I'm gonna move it to my bottom steel so I don't have to pay attention to it. And it won't burn. Oh man, it looks good. I just moved this to my bottom steel and put my oven back on. I'm gonna put it on 450 now, 475. I can even go to 500. Because now I'm just doing a straight bake. I'll do 4 more minutes and then we'll check it. I switched my oven back from broiler to bake, convection bake. Put my pizza on the bottom steel just so it wouldn't get too dark from the broiler, even though the broiler is now coming off. Still got to bird dog that. So I have two steels. Once I go into the bottom steel, I know my top is not going to get much darker than it is. So we've done a lot of photographs, so I know that's the secret in my oven. And every oven is a little unique. So let's get to Richard's question. Have I done whole wheat? So let's talk about the dough for a little bit. We made a 72-hour dough here. I happened to use it for 5 or 6 days. So it was like, I don't know, 100 and, was that 24 hours times 10, 2, 4. It's like, gosh, anybody have any math here? Let's do a calculator. It's 72 would be 3 days. So 140, it's probably like 120-hour dough-ish, which is a lot, right? It's great. If I were, and that my recipe is 500 grams of bread flour, 16 grams of salt, 1 gram of yeast, and 350 grams of water. If I wanted to put some whole wheat in, I would substitute in about 20% of flour, of whole wheat flour. So instead of using 500 grams of bread flour, I would use 400, and I would substitute in 100 grams of whole wheat flour. And what that does is it gives you that really nice whole wheat flavor without disturbing the water content in the recipe too much, if that makes sense. I don't like to go more than 20% because I feel like the whole wheat can really tend to dry up a little and absorb the water differently. So to me, 20% is a really nice, safe number. And you've really just created your own recipe when you do it that way. You've got this whole wheat flour / bread flour combination, which is incredible. You have a really nice flavor to it. I hope that answers that. What's up, Deb? How are you? From Methuen, Mass. Good to see you again. Deb, we've got our pizza in the oven. We're baking away. It looks amazing. We're almost there. Got a couple minutes left. Does anybody else have any questions while we wait and smell the pizza? Don't be shy. This is the time to ask them because I've made a lot of pizzas and I've got a lot of love it to share my information with you guys. Because my goal is I'm obsessed with making pizzas and I'm obsessed with helping you make pizzas at home with your friends and your family and having these amazing pizza nights. What pizza did I make today? So Deb, we're making a tomato pie. We made traditional, a 6-day dough, not by design, not by accident, just that's what we had. And we are using some crushed Italian tomatoes, a little bit of oregano, and a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of Romano cheese at the end, which is going to be phenomenal. Yes, hi, Holly. I will repeat for sure. In fact, I'm not going to repeat them. Also type them here for you guys. So it's 500 grams, organic. I like organic flour, bread flour. It is, oops, let me do this. 500, so it's 500, and then it's 5 grams flour. 350 grams water, which is about a cup and a half, anybody's asking. I like filtered water too. 16 grams sea salt and 1 gram active dry yeast. Those are the ingredients. And someone asked if you want to substitute in a little flour, feel free to combine, take an adventure, experiment, combine your flours together. But again, with that in mind, be mindful that we don't want to use more than 20% of a different flour because it might alter some things. All right, let's take a look at this pizza. Isn't that beautiful? Our tomato pie, gorgeous, right? So now what I'll do is I'm going to add a little bit of Romano cheese. Seeing that light is gorgeous, right? A little bit of the Romano. And I'm a little bit more olive oil. Just sprinkle it on there. For any of you olive oil lovers. And there's our pizza. If you want to take a look, we'll take a look underneath it here. You go like this. Oh my gosh, the aroma, guys. These tomatoes smell incredible. Underneath is beautifully cooked. Our pie is made. Slice this, serve it, and make some friends. It's great. It smells incredible. Let's get to some more questions, you guys. Please ask away. Just don't be shy. It's pretty, yeah, thanks, Deb. It's great. We used so the cook time here was on the steel, about a minute and a half under the broiler and about 4 minutes bake. So about 5.5, 6 minute bake. And I could have gone a little longer. I'm probably gonna end up bringing this home with me, my kids later. They're gonna really enjoy it. It smells incredible. The flavor of that crust, by the way, at 6 days, off the charts. Off the charts. Who else has got a question here? Are we got a shy crew today? No? Anybody making pizza this weekend? Who's making pizza this weekend? Or dough? Anybody made dough this week? Today's the day. It's Wednesday. It's a great day to make your dough. And if you're making your dough, I make dough every week. Make it like Tuesday or Wednesday. And guess what? If you do not make pizza that week, you can make bread with the same exact dough. Super versatile. Oh, I like that. I made dough today and we have pizza every week. Elaine, that's amazing. Paul, great question. Is the broiler on high or low? I like it on high. I have 2 settings on mine, low or high. So I go high, go full tilt if I can. It looks fantastic. If we were to put more cheese to make it a tomato cheese pizza, what cheeses would you recommend when you put it on? Shoot. You could use fresh mozzarella. I could add some fresh burrata right now after the bake. I've seen a lot of people do that. That's a really nice way to do it. So I would just take my burrata and just kind of break it up, if you will. And look at this. It's really pretty, right? I got a little stuck on my peel, so it's not round like I want it to be, but it's really pretty. Underneath is cooked. Some burrata on top. You could do some fresh basil on top. Oh man, you could just use fresh mozzarella, right? Really nice cheeses. Right, you could do it before the bake or after the bake, however you'd like to do it. But that's amazing. You could actually do more tomato. You saw my tomato. I was pretty aggressive. You could do more. You could do more tomato. Just be a little mindful. It's going to absorb through a little bit and be great. All right, looks fantastic. If you would put in more cheese. Okay, so that was that, Deborah. And then Michael is asking, have you tried cooking on a gas grill? If so, how would you adjust? That's a great question. If I were to cook this on a gas grill, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. Let's say I put my steel on my grates. I would stretch out my dough, oil one side, place the oil side down, right? Or oil my baking steel and put my dough on top, almost fry it for a minute. Then I would take my dough and flip it over on the steel itself. And then I would top and close that lid and finish baking. So that's almost like a grilled pizza, if you will. Really nice. Alternatively, I would take my my pizza, and I would make it traditional. Be really careful because outdoor grills do not convect the same. They get really hot on that surface. So I might want to dial my temperature down I might preheat it for like 20 minutes outside, 15, 20 minutes, but make sure my temperature's around the 300, 350 range. And then I would just make a traditional pizza. Because if it's hotter than that underneath, this steel transmits energy really fast. So you got to be mindful of that. Anything over 300 or 400 degrees, you're going to end up burning that crust. And I've done it before. I know that from experience. And we get a lot of emails of people burning crusts. You do not want your outdoor grill at 700, 800 degrees for pizza. It just will not cook the same way as a traditional oven or deck oven. I hope that answers that. Yeah, Deborah, burrata, my wife's favorite. It's a really nice addition. It's really nice after the bake too, especially on this pie. It would be phenomenal. Great idea. Do you have a favorite source of canned tomatoes? They seem to be getting pretty expensive. Yeah, great question. Lately, I've been using um, Bianco DiNapoli tomatoes. They have a really nice flavor. This is a crushed version. You can buy them whole peeled. They're also great. There's another brand called Isola, and that's what I use here today. You can see that. You see that brand? Yeah, there it is. Isola. I got these at Whole Foods, and I get the DOP. This is not the DOP version. These are DOP, and that just means they have a little stricter guidance when they're picking their tomatoes in a certain area. I love these tomatoes. One of my favorites, Isola DOP. I might even have the can here. Let me see. I do. Here. This is the can I use today. Isola DOP. And really, I just pulverize a little bit and then add a little bit of sea salt. And the secret, this is what that is here. So when I make my tomatoes in the can, add a little sea salt, taste them. Taste your tomatoes. If they don't taste amazing here, they're not going to taste amazing there. So really, right out of the can, give them a taste. Have a taste test. If you're making pizzas and you're having special guests over, buy 2 or 3 cans. Do a quick Google search. Try the DiNapoli tomatoes, try these. Get another version of Italian San Marzanos and open the cans up and give them a taste. See what you like. Because I tell you what, this year's tomatoes are going to be different than next year's tomatoes. They're always going to be picked at a different time. The environment's a little bit different year to year. So every year you might have a different source. And sometimes you might get a really hot tomato, not hot flavor-wise, but hot, like tasty, and make them awesome. So again, always experiment. Just because you like them this year or this month doesn't mean next year you're gonna love them. So really be mindful of that. Always taste, always experiment, always take adventure. Let's see. Richard's asking. We typically make dough with your recipe on Sundays. Have been doing it the last 1 or 2 years with the Innovin's precision cooker. Awesome. Oh, I love it. So Richard, every Sunday. So when's your pizza night? Like, I'm curious. Do you make a lot of dough and make breads with it? That oven's phenomenal too, by the way. And then Michael's asking, if you only have one steel, do you have to move the steel from? No. Oh, great question. I should have clarified it. No, do not move your steel around, especially when it's hot. It's too dangerous. Too many things can go wrong. If I had one steel, and I don't mean to confuse you by having 2, but if I had one steel, I'd just keep it on my top rack. And I could have made this one with one steel, but because I'm talking to you guys, I can't really pay attention as closely as I would like. That's why I went to the bottom. I know I'm safe. And I didn't want too much color on top. I've got nice color though, right? So one steel's fine. Just make sure when you put the broiler on, you check your timer, and you got to use a timer. 30 seconds can go by like that, and that can be the difference between a really charred top and not. So be really mindful of that. So Richard makes his dough. Oh, I like that. So Sunday, he makes his dough, and on Friday or Saturday, they make on their pizza. So they've gotten what kind of flour are you using, Richard? That's got to be a pretty strong flour, I'm guessing. That's awesome, by the way. So Richard makes his dough on Sundays for Friday night or Saturday night. And because the dough ferments for that long, guys, these gluten strands break down. We can digest this stuff so much better. It's incredible. King Arthur bread flour. That's a great flour. Awesome. And one of my favorites is this from Central Milling. I'm gonna write it here. I love that brand. That's what I use today. I like their organic bread flours. Incredible. And they ship it right to your door. Not cheap. However, when we break out the cost of making pizza, having our flour shipped to us, it's still really inexpensive. So don't look at the shipping cost and go and just look at the shipping cost and say, oh, if it's $20 to ship whatever it is, a 10-pound bag or a 5-pound bag, I'm going to get 20 pizzas out of that. So it's $1. It's not going to be a lot. It's clearly worth it, I think. And yeah, and King Arthur makes a really nice product. So you're good there. Does anybody else have any questions? Amazing. All right. Well, I'm Andres. This is our tomato pie. You can see front and bottom. It's awesome. It tastes great. Uh, I'm Andres at bakingsteel.com. If you ever have any questions, again, we're obsessed with helping you guys make awesome pizza at home. We're here for you. Thank you guys. Until I think next week. We'll see you then. I think we're doing non bread. Thank you guys. You're amazing. Stay amazing. Love it. Thanks, Deb. You're welcome, guys. Thank you.